Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Albert Jones. Okay. May I try that again? Looked like I was hearing some backfeed, some feedback. My friend in the back was shaking her head and agreeing with me there. Good afternoon again. My name is Albert Jones. I'm with Arkansas Land and Community Development. Thank you, everyone online and in person, so much for joining us. We're going to start this off with a prayer from Chief Barner. I need you to come right here, Chief Barner, whereas everyone can see you, please.
Let's all bow our heads. Dear and most gracious Father, we want to thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to come here together, Lord, and be in unity with all that's surrounding. Lord, I want to thank you for the one that came over the highways and byways. Lord, thank you for the representative of this organization that came near and far, Lord. Lord, as you go through this day, Lord, and get through this meeting, Lord, let it go in accordance with you, Lord. Lord, we will only knows that we can only help as far as we can, but only you has the highest authority to continue this organization, Lord. Lord, I want to thank you for everything that you have done for us, Lord. Lord, I want to thank you for our breath, our health, Lord, and continue to keep it going, Lord, as we go through this day, Lord. Lord, as they leave for this day, Lord, let them be at your mercy, Lord, and you shield them, Lord, as they go back to their destination, Lord. Lord, I want to thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Chief Barner, for that prayer. For those who are online, I sent out there was an additional agenda. We're going to put the agenda in the chat box also for those who don't have the agenda. Next, Arkansas State Representative Mark Elroy was scheduled to be here, but due to the viruses and things that are going on, he said he was going to attempt to join us remotely. Representative McElroy, are you there? Okay. Representative McElroy is not there. We're going on with the program. Next, we have the mayor of the city that we're in, Mayor of Arkansas City, the Honorable Rick Hale. Mayor Hale, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear. I appreciate y'all using Arkansas City as a place to have this meeting. And I'm particularly excited to see how well our high-speed internet and broadband in the Delta is working, because the other people on the video with me, they're just as smooth and clear as they can be. So I'm very excited for that, because we believe Arkansas City is a great place to be. We know we have the greatest police chief and the greatest office staff in the world, so we don't have to talk about that. But we really do appreciate everybody for coming to Arkansas City. We're off the beaten path a little bit, so anytime we can shine the light toward our town, we want to do that. So thank you all for doing that in person, and those that are coming by video, we invite you to come over and see us. We'd love to show you around the natural beauty that we have in that area. So thank you again, and anything we can do as a town or I can do as a mayor to help promote y'all's work, please let me know, and I'm standing by ready to help on anything to move y'all's mission forward.
Thank you so much, Mayor. With that being said, the next person you'll hear is our President, Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Calvin R. King Sr.
Say good afternoon to everyone. Both those are in person as well as those that are participating virtually. Now I'm going to give a brief overview of what this program agenda is all about and how we got here. First of all, let me express my appreciation again back to the mayor and to the chief. My first visit to Arkansas City was actually remotely. As you know, with the coronavirus and what's been occurring, we operate in accordance to CDC guidelines, both from a distance perspective as well as mass and organizationally. We are required to do that based on our policy and based from the board of directors. And that first meeting, which was a very good meeting, and Mayor, I was very impressed both with you and the chief and your sensitivity to what the needs are here in Arkansas City. And let me say this. I know that there are individuals who are participating on the agenda, and they will talk about the type of resources they have. And we're very fortunate to have one agency that is participating, and that's the National Policy Center located at Alcorn University. Now, that's the advantage of technology. Those of you who are present here now in person that have not heard of the National Policy Center at Alcorn University, you will get some very revealing information today on the Policy Center as a resource and the work that they do. I want to say that. Let me say this also in relationship to the Policy Center. The Policy Center itself, when you look at all the various resource agencies that exist and the type of resources they have a major job, and they've been making a major contribution since they've come into existence as they look at existing policies. And if you look at communities in areas such as Arkansas City, and I live in such a city, y'all's population is a lot larger than ours, but you are strategically located here in Arkansas City, right at the Mississippi River. The mayor said a little bit off the beaten path. I'm from a place called Aubrey, Arkansas, off the beaten path as well. Population 150. Our office operation, Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, is located in Fargo, Arkansas. He gave reference to Fargo, the chief did. And those of you who are not familiar with Fargo, Fargo's population, of course, is a little less than Aubrey, Arkansas, said 150. So the city of Arkansas City, 366 in population here. And you have a very beautiful city as it is so maintained, one, and just the makeup of the city as a whole. And the resources that this area and this overall community has to offer. As you look at McGee, Dermont, Dumas, and Arkansas City area, it's like all of you are somewhat directly connected from one perspective, and then two, that's the overall, I would say the rural metropolitan type of community that you all offer here in this particular area. So we've been here often to the area, but this is our my first time being physically in Arkansas City. But we have been here again by FaceTime, and again, using virtual approaches to our work. What the program has to offer today, again, those who are here in person, as well as those who are participating virtually, the Resource Agency, Natural Resource Conservation Services, that's part of the agenda, and hopefully they have someone on. If not, I will talk about Natural Resource Conservation Services, what our relationship is with them as a partner organization, and the type of resources that they bring to the table and that they bring to your community. And I know a lot of their resources, as I looked at the farm community in the farm area as I was coming in, I know a lot of the resources from NRCS has been utilized in the local area and in this particular county. Just looking at the farm operations and the type of conservation practices that are being applied in a number of different ways that we were able to observe coming in. The other one that we have is USDA rural development that we have on the agenda. Rural development has so much as resources. As we talk about some of those resources, assuming some of those are being utilized here in the area. One particular thing that I know we've had some pre-discussions about as relates to Arkansas City and the greater community area of Arkansas City, and that is housing. People have a real interest, and I see some people bowing their heads saying, yes, housing being an issue of some concerns and the need for certain resources for housing development. Rural development has that. State agencies also have a great deal of resources that can be beneficial for housing development. And then we could talk some about the other organizations and agencies that may exist in this area, such as your community action agency. I don't know if you all are familiar with your community action agency here. How many of you, if you would raise your hand, are familiar with your community action agency? CAP agency, okay. Okay, we have people. And of course, you know that the community action agency offer various types of assistance. That particular agency that is supported receive this primary, the primary resources for assistance from Department of Human Services, the State Department of Human Services. And your local state representative has expressed major concern based on the needs and what he is prepared to do to address those issues in any way he can. But one of the ways to do that is that we look at what the issues are and the most programmatic way to approach those issues and making sure everyone is at the table from a partnership perspective. USDA, we always use the terminology one USDA now. And I say one USDA because looking at rural areas, the diversity of USDA by agencies together can do amazing things as far as rural community economic development. Again, they'll talk more details, what their programs have to offer, both rural development, natural resource conservation services, and farm service agency. Farm service agency, they have two different sides in farm service agency, and some individuals don't really realize that, particularly when they only see FSA from the farm production side, which is on the financing. They are a financing institution. But farm services agency also has their program side. And one of the areas that we're really encouraging, particular minority and farmers of color, is on CCAF, what they call CCAF. And that's the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program. They did an extension on the program, and the reason that extension was given is because finding was that minority farmers had not really participated in the CCAF program for various reasons. Some that really they may not have been knowledgeable of the application process. I really did not know about the program and the eligibility requirements. So we're really pushing CCAF now because the deadline will be coming up. The extended deadline, don't know when the cutoff deadline will be, but you need to take advantage of that program. If you're not a farmer yourself, if you know a farmer, individual, have family members who you know are farmers who may possibly have not participated in the CCAF program, the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program, I encourage you to mention it to them if they want more details on it. And again, Farm Service will be participating. They can call the local Farm Service Center, or they can call our office, and you all have information with our phone number that's on the program agenda. Contact our office and we will work with them accordingly. That's the other part of the program agenda. Again, we'll talk more in details, and hopefully we'll have a question and answer period as we move. Well, we will have a question and answer period at the end, both those who are virtual as well as those who are here in person. Really glad to see all of you here participating in this particular meeting. Again, my appreciation to the mayor, our state representative, as well as the chief of police for your hospitality and for the invitation for us to come and participate. We are finding, and I do want the USDA people to understand how we're doing this. As we are presenting here today, again, this is Arkansas City. It's a very rural, the mayor says, a somewhat remote area. Most rural areas are a very beautiful city right on the Mississippi River. Our virtual setups and how we do it, we have learned to do it in a more compact manner. One, if you have internet services, then we can be in person for various reasons. One, if there are individuals who come in person and there's specific information you want, we can do what you call intake. we will do intake. And what I mean by intake is that we will get the information on you, what case it is, type case it is, what you need specific servicing in, and we will follow up accordingly. So we do in-person intake. So those who are here in person and there's a need for us to do an intake process, then we will do the intake on you, follow up with you accordingly. If it's on housing, if it's relationship to farm program services, or in particular, it may be on air property. You know, that's one of the other areas that we work with, and I'll come back and talk more about that as we move forward with the agenda. I'm going to stop at this point. Now, again, the overall aspect here is to look at the comprehensive approach of the issues, to how we can address the issues in Arkansas City or the greater community of Arkansas City. I realize that Arkansas City, when you say Arkansas City, I say the greater community of Arkansas City because, again, the landscape itself, the community at large that's supported by Arkansas City is a fantastic area. It's very beautiful. And again, those of you that are in a more urban setting or maybe in a more urban setting right now, more populated, again, I can't overly express the beauty of this particular town here. I'm going to stop at this point. Now, I think the next person on the agenda is Miss Ashley Crockett. And Miss Crockett, is she present? Yeah. Okay, Miss Crockett, it says farm consultant, but she's our farm consultant advisor with Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation. Miss Crockett.
Good afternoon, everyone. So good to be in your beautiful city. As he said, I am a farm consultant and I normally or necessarily deal with the central and southwestern sectors of Arkansas, but that's not limited to the 42 that we work in. So I'll get into what we do in our mission. Of course, our organization has been around, I'm 36, so I know y'all thought I was young, but anyway, I'm 36 and we've been around a long time. So the mission is simple: to aid and assist the underserved communities across the state of Arkansas, in addition to other tri-state communities, which are Mississippi, Tennessee, and Louisiana, from housing to beginning farmers, land and farm conservations. We are here to service you. So in order to create change, I think we all want to be a part of that, especially in the rural communities like yourselves. In order to create change, you have to be a part of the change. And that's what we intend to do, to be a part of the change, to make change happen, and for you guys to actually see it happen in real time. So again, we're here. If you need us, I'll be at the back there filling out information. Please, again, reserve your questions to the end of the program. Make sure you write them down. If you need any writing utensils to do so, please let me know. And again, we're glad and happy to be here.
And next on our program agenda, we have NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Services. Do we have anyone on from NRCS? It doesn't appear that we have NRCS present. Let me talk briefly about Natural Resource Conservation Services. Our organization, Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, we are a partner with Natural Resources Conservation Services. Our program service delivery has been around for over 40 years now. Ms. Crockett gave reference to her age, so now, I think she was doing that. She was really, trying to hint back at me. The organization's been around for over 40 years, and I've been around the organization since the beginning. So, you do the math, behind that. So it's been a quite a journey, over the years itself. as relates to program service delivery. And we've done a lot of things in our program service area, from one, creating program that we feel and that we have proven and shown that's more beneficial and that fit the needs of our rural communities, and particularly the underserved communities, both working with farmers, partnering back with USDA agencies to try to enhance the program service delivery to the underserved segments of the population. Natural Resource Conservation Services is one of the USDA partnering agencies that we have worked with over the years. Another program we work with is with 2501. 2501 program that is also a part of USDA, and that's a part of what we saw the outreach. Areas that have been major for us as relates to particularly the African-American community, where we have a lot of challenges, has been with air property. I don't know if many of you all are familiar with air property issues, or if you have had experiences. I see heads shaking. Experiences with air property issues. Let me say this. Air property, be it urban or rural, air property is a challenge. You find it in more urban cities. You find it in rural communities. Normally you have more land involved from that perspective. And there have been some specific achievements since we've been involved in working with that over the years and partnering with Natural Resource Conservation Services through our outreach efforts, one, and with community participation, our network of memberships. As a result of the work and the voices of the people and others who have partnered on the private sector side, air property law has changed in Arkansas. Years ago, if someone petitioned the courts and they had a very small interest in land, be it a farm or a house or whichever, if they petitioned the courts to get that interest out, then the land was always sold, or that estate was sold, because the law basically said that land could not be divided equally and equitably. Well, that law has changed now as a result of the partnership of Natural Resource Conservation Services, as well as other work, and where air property is actually addressed in the Farm Bill now. The last Farm Bill, air property is in there as a means to try to address it from a financial perspective and supporting those situations that exist with air property and possibly financing to deal with creating a full ownership or clear title ownership. And there are a number of ways that you do that. Very positive results. The Unified Air Property Act, that change coming to existence now, which basically means the Unified Air Property Act is that if one individual decides that they want to sell or get their interest out of the property, then they must first offer that interest back to the remaining heirs at the market value. At the market value. Can't be any outrage. So if they petition the courts, then the judges are going to say, okay, you want your interest out, you have to go back to your heirs, either as a group, all heirs that are involved, or any one individual that will buy your interest out and not force the property to be sold because they have an interest in retaining that estate or retaining that land or retaining that property based on what it represents for the family. It may be both from the cultural perspective or just the fact that it's an estate of the family, and there's a lot of history along with the cultural aspect of what may be that homestead or whichever. Now, I'm a part of an estate, and I serve as administrator to a trust. So our family trust itself. And my father and my mother, they had the foresight that they made plans for that, for our family farm and the land ownership that we have, and our family continues to, and we're the third generation that was some of that land ownership. It's third generation of some of the land ownership we have there. The other area, and this is just an example of partnerships, and when we say one USDA, we have partnered with Natural Resource Conservation Services in one of their, what we call one of the flagship programs that they have, and it's called, we call it the micro-urban farm. So the micro-urban farm are just the small farm itself in utilization of what they call the EQIP program. Now, what that enables you to do, one, the underserved population, particularly minority population, the cost share basis can be up to 90% cost share. Now that enables one, if you want to be a farmer It don't mean that you have to have, doesn't mean that you have to have 1,000 acres of land or 500 acres of land or even 20 acres of land, not even 10 acres. You could have, it may be 2 lots and say, well, I want to start a micro urban farm. One, you have to get the farm number. That requires then you must have another resource agency. We say one USDA, you have to have Farm Service Agency at the table because Farm Service Agency provides the farm number. Once you get your farm number, then you qualify for other USDA program services, such as the EQIP program. And I don't know if any of you all have seen any of these. I know I've seen some up in the Durham area and where they have what they call the hoop houses. So you can have a hoop house put in that would allow you to produce vegetables almost year round. And we have individuals that have done very well with an acre, 2 acre operation, even less than that, and where they have a micro urban farm, producing vegetables where they sell to the market. Now, the other part behind that, that's on the services from NRCS and our FSA. I know they're on and they'll talk about this more in partnership, bringing all the partners in together, the resource agencies and how they're a resource for you in the local area. That's what NRCS. So NRCS is the enabling agency from a partnership perspective in providing these type of resources as an economic development type of opportunity in small scale agriculture. Even if you want to become, I'm going to be a beginning farmer. So I want to be a beginning farmer. I want to take advantage of Natural Resource Conservation Services program through EQIP. And I want to get the other benefits of the EQIP program. Not only does that allow you to put in a hoop house it's as large as this facility is here, to do the year-round production, and you can produce a lot of vegetables, trust me, a lot of crop in those type of operations. But once as a farmer, that means you also have access to other resources, and we're back again to this one USDA, you're back to Farm Service Agency again. Farm numbers on the program side. Then you have the micro loan program. You establish as a farmer, a beginning farmer, are diversifying your farm operation with this type of activity, then you're able to go in and apply for a micro loan, can be up to $50,000. Again, the FSA will talk more about that, how the program works, as well as some of the other areas. But the enabling process behind that are all the conservation practices that you can apply and how beneficial those practices are for you through Natural Resource Conservation Services. And they have many other programs that are very beneficial. And again, that you see in the Arkansas City community, conservation stewardship practices. Well, conservation stewardship is basically you're dealing with practices that apply on a farming operation that actually, enhances the overall capability of that farming operation from an economic perspective, from a income generating perspective, building soil nutrient factors from the farm crop rotation is a part of some of those practices. We have a number of practices, and NRCS is the resource agencies and how farming and how your greater community here in Arkansas City that they go to access those resources. I'm going to talk about one other area. There's one operation that I'm working with right now, and I only use this as an example. I haven't used it before, but there's one farming operation I'm working with now. It's 40 acres. This 40-acre farm will be, and I think will be, one of the most diverse model operations on 40 acres that we will have facilitated a process for creating. NRCS will be a partner in that process with this small 40-acre operation, has some timber on it. The intent of this is that this operation will be a makeup of a vegetable operation, conservation practices and forestry services being involved on the forestry section of the area, and then also aquaculture. Because in putting in or enhancing what is now sort of a natural pond that's there in dealing with fish production. So I think this is going to be one of the most diverse operations in the application of conservation practices on this 40 acres. And if the model turns out the way we're hopefully it will turn out, I told the owner of that operation, this will be one of the best examples that we can show and what the possibility is, could have been, or has been for the 40 acres of the mule. Have you never heard of 40 acres of the mule? Oh, yeah, there you go. I got a lot of response on that. Okay, it's like the 40 acres of the mule. So that's one we're working with now. It's looking very good, and we'll be talking back with the conservation consultants, next week, and the farm operator as we progress and move forward. So hopefully we'll be able to do a field day out there, show it. I mean, it's in a remote area like it is here, but as long as we have Wi-Fi, we'll be able to do an actual farm visit to that operation. Those are some of the program areas: conservation stewardship, equip. I'm going to give reference to this because NRCS was, and because we have the policy center that's on listening as well. I like to take that, Elois, I like to take any chance I can to make sure that you hear what I'm saying. Now, Arkansas also, one of the states with natural resource conservation services, implemented some years ago a special program initiative to deal with underserved communities called Strike Force. It was a very successful program. I've heard that one, they still have Strike Force in Arkansas. On the other hand, I hear that they don't have Strike Force in Arkansas. Then I've heard they have Strike Force, but they don't have the resources that's needed in order for it to be implemented in the way that it needs to be implemented, and as it was implemented in the past, and for it to have the impact that it's had in the past. But special program, special services needs, NRCS implemented that. There was a lot of success in that area, again, particularly with the underserved population and with the minority population through the Strike Force program. And again, some of our program is an example, the air property situation and what took place on that, outreach work, partnershiping, and how the Unified Air Property Act was passed in Arkansas, and it's having continuous ongoing from an institutionalized process benefits to communities and to individuals. So those who don't know about that, have not heard about it, that's the new law that's in place. I'm going to stop at this point because there are other programs. I'm just going to mention one more, and I know Al said my time is up. But one other area is what they call conservation easement program. Now, getting into some of the programs can be challenging if you own interest in air property and you want to put it into a conservation easement program. And basically how conservation easement work, and this is just from a general perspective, is that it allows you to put your land into a conservation easement program, and you're paid accordingly based on Arkansas now. I think it can be up to roughly $3,200 an acre. Okay, that's pretty significant. Can be up to $3,200 an acre. Now that means that if it qualifies, it gets into the program, and you have, be it a 40-acre farm or a 100-acre farm, and you have the administrative authority, and the family all agree. I'll make sure the family be in agreement now. To put it in conservation easement, you can put it into conservation easement program. You still own the land. You still own your farm, but it goes into a permanent conservation easement. Now it goes there, and you can still sell the land. If you decide to sell it later on, so we're going to sell it, but that easement goes with that sale. And there are individuals who buy land that's in conservation easement program. So conservation easement is another one offered by Natural Resource Conservation Services. It can be very, very beneficial. You maintain ownership of the land, and you go in with a conservation plan and maybe with trees on the land and other type of activities you do on it, after a period of time, you can harvest trees off of it. You go through the process, with the approval of that through the Conservation Service Agency and working back with forestry services, because you want to have, again, a conservation plan and a forestry plan in a situation like that. So you're able to harvest the trees off of it. The other part of it, you can lease it out for hunting purposes. And recreation and hunting is getting to be a big thing, is a very big thing in Arkansas, as you all know, and I'm sure down in this area as well with all the scenic beauties you have. But again, conservation easement, hunting, timber, and still ownership of the land, and the benefit of the payment that you receive on a per acre basis for the land. I'm going to mention this because I like to make sure that try to make sure that there's no misstep. Try to make sure there's no misstep, okay? If you put your land into a conservation easement program, and we have not gone through this full process, our plan